Hello boys and girls, today we are going to learn about the elements of art, or should I say review the elements of art, which are line, color, shape, space, value, form, and texture. And if you notice, on this metal tooling, which you're going to learn how to do, there are all of the elements of art. So I have lines, I have color all over, I have different shapes all over, I have space, so things overlapping. For example, my lines here, or my lines here. So how things are placed in there, or how things start looking smaller. I could use that as space. I have value, so I have different shades and tints of maybe purple here, and the blues, the different tints and shades of blue. Form, so three-dimensional. I don't have form on there. And texture, everybody. So automatically have texture on there, which is the way things feel. You need to include at least 6 of the elements of art. And you're going to break this up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different sections. So let me show you how we're going to get started. So, excuse me. So we have this white piece of paper here that you are going to use to sketch out your ideas for your final copy. So you need to break it up into 9 parts. It's up to you how you break it up. You could break it up like I did on there, or you could break it up a little different. So let's see how many I have. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 shapes, or spaces, should I say, on here. So I am going to do one focusing on line, because that's the element of art I chose. Okay, so there's different types of line, or just line. And now I need color. Color I'm automatically going to have because I'm going to color this in. Shape. Let me do some shape. So I'll do some different shapes in here. Okay, so there's my shape. Value, lightness to darkness of a color. I will do that when I'm coloring, obviously. Form. Let's do some 3D squares in here. So a bunch of 3D squares. Notice how I'm doing a different design in every box. You should not have any box that has the same design in it. Be creative. Try different ideas and designs. This is your sloppy copy, so this is where you'll be figuring it out. Oop, I had to fix that because that's a little sloppy there. Now, I skipped over one of the elements of art. But if you notice, when I'm drawing these, my squares are getting smaller as they're going back. Which is what? Element of art. It's space. So I have space here. Now I don't need all of these, but I do have all of them except for color and value, which I will be adding when I color it in. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out how I'm going to design the rest of mine, and I can use different designs or different ideas in here. Okay, now I have this all figured out for my final copy, and notice how I tried different designs, as I said before. In here, you don't want to have the same design in each one. You want to be a little more creative than that. And I filled up most of the space with my designs. Okay, so now you've figured out what you're going to do for your final copy. So you're going to take a piece of aluminum, which this is what this is, and you're going to write your name on the back in Sharpie. Make sure it's a color that is easy to read. You only get one of these, so if you make a mistake on this, you're going to have to work with it because I do not have enough for everybody to get more than one. So now I'm going to flip it over. My name is on the back, and underneath here you might notice that I have a stack of paper. You need this paper underneath your project so that when you start carving into it, there's give. If you're doing it against a hard table like this, it's going to be a lot harder for you to press and get designs in here. So paper underneath or a folder of some sort will help. So now I'm going to grab my sloppy copy, and I'm going to have my final copy here, and I'm going to copy what I have on here. Now, it probably won't look exactly the same. Is there anything wrong with that if it does not look exactly the same? No, but you want it to be similar. So as I'm doing this, it works better to have a dull pencil. You don't want a super sharp pencil because that might puncture the aluminum. So I'm not pressing really hard yet because this is still me figuring out my design. And if I press it really hard, it's going to be hard to get rid of that design if I wouldn't want it, or to figure out a different way to make it work. So here now I'm going to start putting in my designs. Okay, now I have my design all in here. It's the way I want it to look. So what I'm going to do is, in areas where my grooves aren't very deep, I am going to go over it a second time. You may or may not need to do this, but I just want to make my grooves that I put in here a little deeper. So you can see the difference here between where I did it here. Well, you can certainly feel it, but it's a little harder to feel through a video. But you can see here how it's deeper, and there it's not as deep. So I'm just going to go over all of this, pressing hard with my pencil. Now you don't want to press so hard that you puncture a hole in this, because like I said before, you only get one of these. So just be careful. And if you do make a mistake, work with it. Nobody knows that you made a mistake unless you tell them. I have all my designs in there the way I want to. So now the next step is to color it in. Now you don't have to color in the whole entire thing, but you should have most of it colored in. You can trace over the lines like this here, or you can actually color in the designs. Think about what colors you use. What colors work well together. If you just use a whole mishmash of colors, is it going to look nice? As nice, should I say, if you have a specific color scheme in mind. What can you do to make it look nice? Now, I am going to warn you that you have to hold your hand up if you're coloring over an area where the Sharpie hasn't dried yet. So for example, let's say I put my hand here. Oh, shoot. Look at all that Sharpie I just got on my hand. So you either hold your hand up, or another technique that you could do is you could start working from the top and then work your way down to the bottom of this, turning it, whatnot, so you don't get the Sharpie off of in your hand. And then you can prevent making a huge mess. Now, that is up to you, but you must be careful because you don't want to wipe off the Sharpie that you are coloring on here. Now, eventually, the Sharpie will dry, but it just takes a little longer. For example, I can touch this and I won't get any Sharpie on me because this has dried. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out the colors I'm going to use, my color scheme, and color this all in nicely. Taking my time, not rushing, trying to stay in those lines and grooves that I created. Now when you're using these Sharpies, make sure, because these are brand new ones just for you guys to use, make sure that you're closing the cap nice and tightly, that there's no gap in between the lid and the top of the Sharpie, because you don't want these to dry out. You want these to last as long as possible so that we can use these for some more projects. And right here I am adding in my value because I have two different shades of violet or purple. Now my design is done. Notice I have most of it filled in. I didn't fill in all of it. You do not have to. You can fill in more if you want, but I probably wouldn't do any less filling in than this with the color. So I have all my elements of art on here. I have line going all over. I have color all over. But what color scheme do you think I got that I used, you guys? I used a mainly cool color scheme with neutral colors as well, because I have my cool colors, I have my blues and my purples. And then I also, for my neutral, I have browns and blacks. So it's a cool and neutral color scheme. I have shape all over on here. I have space where I said things get smaller as they go further away or overlapping, but I don't really have any overlapping on here. I could have done it with there, but I did not. I have values, so lightness to darkness of a color, so I have some different tints and shades of purple. I have form, 3D, and I have texture, the way it feels. So now that I'm done with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of these sheets, and it says project. So you're going to write metal tooling here, or elements of art, and then your name. Where it says class, write your grade. So I am going to write 5th grade, because 5th grade is doing this. You're going to look at your project and answer the question, which is, what did you do best? So I'm going to look at this and figure out what I think I did best. And then I'm going to write that. So I love the color schemes. Please make sure you're writing in full sentences. I chose. They work well together. Please write nice. If I can't read it, how am I going to grade it? What do I need to work on? So I'm going to look at this again and see what I need to work on. And I think I need to work on my craftsmanship. There's some areas where I could have definitely done a better job. So I need to slow down and take my time. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and put it in my grade me bin.